welcome back to the main line. If my heart isn't racing fast enough yet with the 3 cups of coffee, it sure will after I have this monster, 0 sugar at least. So I want to kind of refocus on something else on the layout that needs to get done. It can kind of make or break the layout sometimes, I think, and that is a backdrop. To do all the work in the foreground is great, but the problem is in your peripheral, if you got that break where, say my Industrial Avenue, it just goes straight across and then it's straight into a blue wall, the sky, that's not natural. Your vision always focuses down. And so even if you're looking up front here, it's not going to look natural on the back side. So backdrops are always important. And I even knew that back on section 1 when it was downstairs in the living room. I liked the layout, but anytime I looked at it, it was hard to get that immersive feeling because behind those buildings was 1979 fake wood paneling. Still down there 40 years later, 46. So yeah, it just wasn't doing it for me. So you can do a bunch of different things. Like I did with that was went to the dollar store, got some poster board, and it was like just the blue, whatever blue. It was kind of like this blue almost. Like it was not a natural sky blue, but it was blue. And then I got some green acrylic paint and some white acrylic paint and did a couple of different tones of green to get different distances on some mountains, and then built some wispy clouds in it and put it behind the buildings. And even though it didn't look, there was no real, it wasn't even cartoonish, it was just so fake, it still brought the level of the layout up to a different standard, different level. So anything aside from just a plain wall, even as much as I say it's not natural to see the road just go into a blue wall, even painting the walls blue to give it a sky color makes a difference. So you've got to put something back there to just kind of finish it off. So you can do that poster board idea. You can go online and you can buy different backdrops. In fact, the one that I had from the semi, right, this massive thing, way out of scale, especially for end scale. I still had some of this left over. I even tried looking at it behind this, and it was like, no, it didn't work. But you can find anything like that. There are websites that have pictures that they have created that you can order from them, and they'll ship out to you, and you can get anything from buildings to scenery, mountains, ice cap mountains to Appalachian mountains, anything you want you can find through them, and then you pay them a small fee, they'll ship it out, and it will be to scale. The other option is something that I'm trying out now that at this point I am deeming as temporary, but if I like it enough, there's going to be no point in changing it. And that is I don't know what it's called. I think it's called like photorealistic backdrop because you are using photos. The easiest way, there's different ways you can do it. The easiest way is just to go on Google and search, old warehouse or old brick building, open field. I searched specifically for open field with forested background. And you can search whatever you want, and you will find different photos, and you can pick and choose what will work for you. Now, the only downfall with that would be that there are going to be copyright and trademarks and that sort of stuff. Now, if you're not doing anything where you're, not on YouTube showing your work, then you're really not going to have any issues. The only issue that you can really have is, if somebody took that photo and they see it on your backdrop and your layout, especially if you're in, making money off of YouTube, then they could say, hey, that's stolen property. So, and a lot of times, photo credits go a long way. Most of the time, if you find Google Images, there's not much for photo credits. So anything that I have in here, photo credits go to the original creator, whoever that is. None of these photos I have taken personally. But with that said, if you wanted to, you could take your phone or your camera wherever you want. If there's, you could take the photo of the road right in front of your own house if you wanted to, and post it or put it up on the wall as a backdrop. If there's a certain scene, if you are doing a prototypical area, you can go and take your phone and take the photo. You can also use Google Street View for that matter. That was kind of the in between the Google image search and your own photos. You can go on Google Maps on Street View and get the photos as well. So what I did was I took my phone and, like I said, I searched for certain things. I searched for 4-lane road. Here comes a train. Ooh, Canadian Pacific, CPKC. So yeah, what I started out with was the Industrial Avenue. I wanted to get that taken care of. What I did, I didn't know how to scale it, and it's weird because when I did the warehouse, when I went in to print it, it said, do I want like 75%, or it went by percentages. For some reason, this time it didn't. Now I'm guessing maybe it's the file. Maybe it knows it's a photo this time before it wasn't necessarily a photo. Whatever the case is, it's not giving me that. It's giving me photo sizes, like 8.5 by 11 or 5 by 7, 3.5 by 5 or whatever. So I just kind of played around with it. And with the backdrops, I'm not too worried about being completely in scale, as long as it's close enough and it looks good enough. The first one I printed out, I did full size. And no, I didn't. I did this side. Which was 5 by 7 or something like that. And of course I folded it over because I want that line there to be matched up with the road itself. So I took that, and it didn't really work. One, because it's not a 4-lane road, and there was no real way to match up the ends of this to the dirt to make it look right. So then I just played around with it. I went to full size and seen if I could get away with it, and that definitely didn't work. And part of the problem too was, no matter what size scale I did, these vehicles here were way out of scale. This would have been the size of a semi. And another thing I had a problem with is they're not perfectly centered. So when I held this up to the layout on the wall, the road went off to the right a little bit. Now it's not enough, and if you're standing over to the right a bit, it's not too bad. But if you're standing straight on, it's noticeable. So I went back to my phone and did some editing. I used the eraser and removed the few cars on the one side, and then I reversed the image left to right. So now the cars in the photo are going to be on the wrong side of the road, but that's a whole other issue at some point. So what I did then was I tried going back, and I'm just kind of holding this together. I tried it at a different size, and it still was too big. Went back to this size, and that is the closest that I could get it. So I ended up cutting it out. You just make sure you get it nice and straight. And then I put it in there, and it still wasn't working right. So that one I've got to redo. However, I did do another one for over yonder, and that one looks pretty decent, but it doesn't go all the way out. Let me take you over there and show you. All right, so I got that one there, and again, it's not perfect, but it's a lot better than just a blank wall. But as you can see, if I'm standing like right here, on the left, it works perfect. On the right, it doesn't. And if I stand a little more over here, then both sides are screwed. Of course, if I'm way over here, then you get the idea on that. Now, I will say that I don't think I'm going to be able to do anything back there. I can't reach that wall. It's too late for that. That's so far in the background, I'm not too worried about it anyways. But there's ways around that. So how do you go around that? Well, that's easy enough. You just print out other photos. Because those are right near buildings, I can use other buildings. Now, I like this one. I really like this one. I think this one might end up over there. Not too sure. But, again, I printed all of these out at the 5 by 7 size. That seems to be the closest that I can kind of fit. What I might do is I might go down and reprint them on the back side, one size smaller, kind of like I did with these ones, and just kind of see, because it would be farther in the background. These might be a little too big. Not 100% sure, but yeah, just printed out a bunch of different buildings. Somewhere in here there's buildings. Somewhere in here there's buildings. Here's another one. Yeah, printed out the buildings, and then you just line them up beside them. You know, each other. You overlap them. You can actually get a good forced perspective just in your backdrop if you use the right photos and get them sized just right. I thought I had 4. Yeah, there's another building. Now, I will say that my printer isn't, there you go. My printer isn't the greatest, or it's not necessarily it's not the greatest. It's that I'm printing a photo on regular paper. Now, if I were to print it on to, photo stock paper, then it might be a little different. So it's basically, it's a little out of focus. But again, that's not bad, because when you're looking, anything that's kind of in your peripheral is already out of focus. So it's not that big of a deal to me. And then I got different, like I said, I searched for, forest in the background. So this sort of stuff is going to line up over there. I'm going to try to put this one down behind the bridge there, because there's a road, and, kind of has a little bit of a canopy. There's the road, and then it's got a little bit of a canopy. This one actually has all of me. Well, that's neither here nor there. So, yeah, I mean, these aren't going to match up necessarily perfectly, but they're going to be close, and you can always, when you're cutting around, you can always, line them up a little bit better. Like, I could cut down here by this tree, and then come down here. I can kind of follow that line, and that might be in line with that tree there, and then that would make a nice, longer lineup. So I'm going to play around with those, going to cut them out, going to cut the buildings out, and see there's going to be, one on either side of that building, and then I need to fill up all this area here. Need to figure out what I'm going to do about this bridge and that sort of stuff, but it all comes, eventually in the end. So let me get to cutting here, and we will see what I end up with. All right, so let me see. There's all that. Where's my knife? Here it is. All right, so I've got my little tiny cutting mat down here. And I've got this here. I can't figure out what I did with my ruler. It's probably in the other room, honestly. Of course, there's no real good angle to get this at to film, but you get the idea. So I'm going to try to get this lined up right on the edge of it, and then just simply cut it out. Come on this side of it. Now, of course, you know what? I don't even really need to worry about how straight this part is here, because that's going to be underneath the layout. And basically just want to make sure that all the white is gone. So, I mean, even if you cut on the inside of that colored line, then you're fine. And again, this one here, I am just going to go straight across. And if I need to, I can go in and cut around there. But I think this will work well enough on the wall that I'm not going to worry about cutting all the detail. I mean, I could just cut along here and then lose all those. But I think for now, temporary, I think that one works well enough. This one, on the other hand, I will go in and kind of cut around. I'll probably start here. I'll probably lose this part here. Just cut down here and follow the ridge line across. And I might start by coming up here and taking some of those, but I think I might just cut straight across here and lose whatever this stuff is here, and then just straight across. All right, so here is the cutout. This is the best that I can get. I really need to be able to scale it down a little bit differently, but it will work for now. What I've done is I've got some of the small pop-top tape and put them on the back here, just on the tops. because I want minimal contact with the wall. Just enough to hold it up, but not enough to, when I decide that I don't like this, it's hard to pull up. So now I'll take this over to here, and I will try to line it up as best as I can. It's going to be still a little off, but with knocking stuff over. There is also opportunity to kind of correct that, because I do have some buildings still that I can kind of, put here or there. This is actually half a building. The other half of that ended up over here, so you can see that I've got those buildings. Of course, when you're at different angles, it doesn't look right, but when you are at street level, it looks mighty fine. So I've got that section done there. I need to do up in here, and all of this section is going to be interesting. Not going to worry about that side quite yet, because I don't know what I'm doing over there. And I'm working on this side. So far, I've got the 3 sections. Now, of course, there is tint variabilities and things like that. But you know what? I was actually able to match up kind of decently some of the edges. And so, yeah, so far that works. It's 3 different ones. The only thing is this track here is not going to be able to, I'm going to end up having to do some AI stuff with that or something. No matter what, I'm not going to find something that matches up with that. But I will figure something out in the long term. Not too worried about that right now. Need to get the rest of this all filled up. And I need to work on this piece here. I think overall it will work. I just need to trim up some of this, like lose some of the canopy right over the center, and just kind of go from there, and then just figure out what I'm going to do. I do have that green paint back there, so I could just kind of paint some of the wall and blend it. That might work, but that is a start. I think I'm going to use that one no matter what. And the nice thing is that I have this right-hand turn sign that used to be over there, because the road ain't turning right. It actually turns to the left now, so that would be completely wrong. So this will probably go like in here somewhere. I still have work to do to this. I got to put the abutments and everything onto the track. That's why you'll notice that there's no ballast there, because I need to be able to pull the joiners so I can lift the bridge up. But yeah, slowly but surely it is coming along. And look, here comes Norfolk Southern. This is in Chesterton, Indiana. I don't know where that is. I think that's north of me. Everything's pretty much north of me, I think. Yeah, boo choo choo! Alright, so there you go. You can see that, it lines up pretty well when you're looking straight on. Of course, then, it doesn't when you're off on an angle, but that's going to happen no matter what. So, I had to get a little creative. I had to go and get my pointer. Because this one here, it's down a lot lower than I would have liked, but it still kind of works out well. But the photo actually ended right there. And so I didn't want to move. I could have moved this building forward, I guess, but then the steps would have been right to the road, and I didn't want that. I think I've actually got to move the building back a slight bit. I think it's a little far forward from where it was. What I did was I just took one of the other wrong sized photos of the same scene that was not reversed, and just cut out part of the building. So you can see that, there's the sign, there's the sign, there's the tree, there's the tree. The problem was, you can see that if I zoom in, it wasn't short or tall enough. I cut it a little short because I didn't want, all the ground effects down here. So, you know how easy that is to remedy? Like that. So, yeah, I mean, that's simple. I've got more of those tough balls, so I can stick more. Ooh, careful. I can stick more over here. And like I said, I got to do something along here, because there's a little bit of a gap. This tree here, you can see it's already molting. It's going to go there, then that tree back there is going to stand up. And I'm not going to worry about doing anything quite yet over here, because I don't know what's going on over here, so that will be done later on. Over here, obviously, like I said, I've still got to, let me zoom out. I've still got to do all the work here, so I'm not sure. But you know, I've got that building. I've got two other buildings over there. But like I said, I've got all this to try to fill up. So gonna have to take some inspiration. Right now, I got done what I was really kind of hoping to get done. So I am happy. I'm happy that that is finally done. So basically, from like this building all the way over to the bridge here is basically done. I gotta hide the cables. I gotta figure out what to do with that, but that's neither here nor there. All right, so I think that will end it for today. Just wanted to kind of give a little bit of a different, something different on my layout. And you know what? Just looking at that scene, it looks so much better. It looks so much more done. Just seeing Industrial Avenue go. I might even rename it something else now. Maybe that's Railway Avenue or something. But nonetheless, it now looks a lot more finished. I am happy with that. I think it looks well enough for my liking. So, and again, back behind the trailer park, seeing all that done, it's kind of in shot right there. Yeah, I can't wait to get the rest done. I need to transition to more of a darker, fuller forest on this side of the tracks, and get in behind the scenes with like a full luscious type of forest, and then somehow incorporate that photo that's there. I might look for another one. There might be another, like mountain curve, 2-lane mountain curve, search for that. But for now, it's a placeholder until I figure out what I'm doing exactly. I think that definitely, makes it look better. And that intersection over there, that's to me, that's kind of, chef's kiss. So, anyways, that will wrap up this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got some sort of inspiration from it. That's what we are here for with these videos. It might not be perfect, but as long as it gets the idea, I might change, my thoughts at some point and say, I don't like that, but that gives me the idea to do better. So, in fact, I just watched a video. I can't remember his name. He's a Canadian. I know that I saw his videos a while ago, and he kind of went off my radar, and I think I just subscribed to him today, but he was talking about, progress versus perfection, and maybe that's where I got the inspiration to do this, just because I've had some roadblocks that have come by, and I just was like, yeah, I don't, because it's got to be perfect. I've always said that about this section. I want this to be perfect because it is a very focal point in the layout, and I postponed for quite some time, and now I'm getting to that progress instead of perfection, where it gets done. And if I need to tweak something later on, I can tweak it again. So, yeah, like I said, that's basically what the community is all about, to give inspiration and to get your button gear, to help you think of what you need to do and have you start doing it. So, again, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm waffling on. It's just what I do. I don't usually talk to people, so, I talk to my camera. So, I'm going to continue my monster. I'm going to sit here and watch some trains and maybe even run my own, just to kind of get an idea of how these scenes are looking. So, till next time, take care and happy railroading.